Here we go. And let's start to pay a little bit more attention to what's going on inside. So letting go of the to-do lists and the agendas and the goal orientation we often have in our days, and just become a breathing being. So that's a real shift sometimes for us to make. And I know you've all worked with chakras before, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about, the names of the chakras or the colors associated with them, that sort of thing. I want to talk about how you can get a felt sense of this energy moving in your body. And when you start to tap into or start to feel something in these areas, what might that mean for you? How might that affect your day-to-day life? So, relaxing first, simply to let things flow more naturally. A lot of times when we're very focused on getting things done, we have a tendency to hold back the natural flow of energy. We deliberately shunt it to different areas because we want to get something done. So now we're going to maybe move into a little bit more of an organic realm, in that we're trusting that our system has this native intelligence, and we're going to let the system kind of guide us for a change rather than us delivering exactly what we think should happen. This is quite a shift, because anytime we feel uncomfortable in our lives normally, we usually say, got to get on that. I'm gonna get to the gym, or I'm gonna cut out drinking so much wine, or I'm gonna call that person that I need to call. Usually we want to take some action. In today's class, we're going to step back from that just a little bit, and we're going to really express deeply and spiritually our faith that, you know what, we already have this. We already have everything that we need. We already know where we need to go with this. It's just a matter of creating some space in which to experience it. So chakras, you really don't have to do anything to create movement of energy. Things shift and change all the time. So you don't need to buy a special gemstone or sign up for a special treatment, although all of those things can help in certain times when we've really got out of balance. Today, we're going to use simply your mental attention. We're going to assist that with a little bit of imagery around breathing and movement in order to help these energy centers feel a little bit freer. So let's just start where we are, becoming a little bit more aware of your breath, and do a few simple movements with our breath. And this is just to kind of further hone our attention onto what's happening right now. So please notice your breathing. Breathe in and breathe out through the nose as best as you can. And then let's start some simple movements in time with the breath. Inhale where you are. And as you exhale, please hug one knee in towards your chest. Be gentle. Inhale, release that foot back to the floor. And exhale, hug the other leg closer into your chest. And inhale, release that foot to the floor. And now as you exhale, please hug both knees in towards your chest. And inhale, release the feet to the floor. And let's move back and forth just in that pattern a few more times. Very, very simple movement. And this is no time to really push yourself into a deep stretch. Our purpose to do this little sequence is really just to help you hone your attention a little bit more on the experience that you're having in this moment. There's no big agenda here, just the experience of breathing and moving. And the next time you have both knees in towards your chest, you can stay in that position. And my suggestion might be to start doing some circles with your knees. You can separate the knees apart from each other and do circles that way, or you can keep the knees together and do circles that way. Whatever instinct came to you first is probably the best one for today. And if you've been going in one direction with your circles, let's try going in the other direction. And notice how this movement is affecting your breath. What would happen if you slowed the circles down so that it takes an entire breath to make one rotation? And then you can let your feet rest to the ground. And then when you're ready, roll over to your side and please come up to mountain pose. Take your time. We're going to start our practice in mountain pose today. Paying particular attention right now to the feet. So you can watch your feet if you want to. You can look down at them. And lift and wiggle the toes. And then for fun, if you want to, do toe yoga. Try to lift just the big toes, leave the other 4 toes down. And then imagine you can lift the other 4 toes, but leave the big toe down. And that is physically, technically possible, but you might not be able to find that today. But just goes to show how it's hard for us to concentrate, doesn't it? And then you can kind of roll around on the perimeter of your feet. So keep your knees a little soft when you do this and roll onto the outside edges and heels, inside edges, toes, that sort of thing. Just kind of roll around. It doesn't really matter how you do this, but just massage the feet into the floor as best as you can. And then if you feel like you want even more movement, you can come up onto the balls of the feet a couple times and then rock back onto the heels a couple times. Just keep your knees quite soft when you do this. And then when you feel like you've had a little bit of time to really think about the feet, move the feet into the earth, let's come to stillness and just keep your awareness on your feet as best you can. Relax the rest of your body as much as you can. So you're really thinking about the feet. Now, often in yoga, we'll talk about the 4 corners of the feet, which, as you know, is the big toe ball, the baby toe ball, and either side of your heel. So you can press down through the 4 corners of your feet actively. Usually for me, I notice there's one spot in my foot that doesn't make as much contact with the floor as other spots. You can notice that maybe too. And I'd like to draw particular awareness, if I could now, to the big toe mount. So I'm talking about the ball of the foot, not the actual toe, but the ball of the foot, where the big toe kind of moves into the ball of the foot. That's the big toe mount. And while keeping everything evenly distributed, the weight evenly distributed on your feet, can you bring your attention, though, a little bit more keenly to this spot on the big toe, both the right side and the left side? I'm going to ask you to breathe in a particular way here with your awareness. Anyway, obviously, you're going to breathe through the nose, we always have, but your attention might shift a little bit. So can you imagine that you're inhaling up through this point, the ball of the foot, right at the big toe side? It comes up the inseam of your pants to your pelvic floor. And then as you exhale, there's a releasing down into the ground through the inseam of your pants. So just try a couple breaths, slow and steady, just with that visualization if you can in your mind. And so what we're thinking about here is we're really thinking about rooting into the earth. Wonderful. And then we're going to come into a really slow march. So inhale where you are. Exhale, lift your right knee up. And then exhale, or sorry, inhale, put that foot back down. And then exhale, lift the left knee up. And inhale, come back down. So just that's the movement, nothing too exciting. What I'd like to be able to do, though, is maintain as much structural stability in your body as possible as you take this super slow march. Try not to shift your body weight too much to the sides, and try not to shift your pelvis up and down too much. Just make this a movement of the leg. The slower you go, the harder it will be. Maintain awareness of the places in the foot that was touching the ground, where you were rooting into the ground. And next time you lift the left knee, we've done a good job there. Let's come back to stand. With both feet firmly planted on the ground, you might be able to close your eyes. You may want to bring your hands into a gesture like a prayer-like gesture at the heart, just to keep yourself internally focused. And I'd like to offer this sentiment for you to meditate on. I am connected with the energy of Mother Earth. My body, mind, and spirit are grounded and centered and purified. So breathe in and out with that. Just one more breath. You are grounded and connected to the energy of Mother Earth. So it's not just the feet. Your whole lower body knows where your roots are. Now let's lift up the right leg again. Turn the knee out to the side and place the foot gently along the left leg. So it doesn't matter if you're in a really deep tree pose or not. Try not to press on the inner knee if you can help it. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to hip bump a little bit through that left hip. So deliberately let the left hip go out to the side, like you're going to give somebody a bump, and then pull it back in over top of the left knee. Go gentle with this. Don't push so hard that you hurt your knee. But your left hip is going out and in and out and in. And then let's keep the left hip in so it's centered right over top of the knee and the ankle. Left knee can have a micro bend to it if you like, especially my flexible friends. And then without using your hands at all, pull the right knee a little bit more out to the right. Yeah. So press your roots into the earth. So I see a couple of my friends who could really benefit from drawing the left hip in more. Into the center line, not out to the side, but in. That's it. And then take a couple nice deep breaths, feeling the energy, particularly along that inseam of the left leg. Feel your pelvic floor directly connected to the ground through the inseam of the left leg. Last breath here. And then turn your right knee forward and slowly place it on the ground. Shimmy and shake a little if you have to. Get the pulses flowing easily through your body, and then breathe. I am connected with the energy of Mother Earth. My body, mind, and spirit are grounded and centered and purified. Let's slowly lift the left knee up. Turn it out to the side and place the left foot wherever it meets simply on the inner right leg. And then take your hands to your favorite position. I was suggesting in front of the heart, and do a few hip bumps with your right hip. So push it out and then pull it back in. And then keep the right hip pulled in so it's aligned over the knee and ankle joint on the right side. Give your right knee a micro bend, especially my flexible friends. And then how about, without using your hands or anything, just use your hip muscles to take the left knee out further. Keep your body facing forward so you didn't turn your whole body to the left. And I see a couple of my friends saying, oh, I found some left hip muscles. How interesting. If you're getting a bit of cramping in the left buttock muscle when you try to do that, know that you just need to strengthen that, probably deep rotators, the deep 6 rotators of the left buttock. It's very common. Can we hold here for one more breath, rooting into the earth, feeling confidence and grounded. And then please turn your left knee forward, feet to the ground, and you can shimmy and shake a little bit if you need to. Okay, let's turn sideways on your mat. I'm going to come with you in this one. Take your feet a little distance apart. You don't want to do a great big huge squat, but a little bit distance apart, and turn your feet out a little bit so that when you bend your knees, your leg bones are pointing in the same direction as your toes. So you may end up having to dial your feet slightly differently. And so try a little squat. Make sure that you're not squatting so much that your knees are way beyond the level of your ankles. This is just a little squat. And then we'll lift and spread the toes, draw awareness back to the feet, find the 4 corners of both of your feet, and particularly notice the big toe mound again. And just for one breath, breathe up from the big toe mound, up the inseams of your pants, become aware of this area, the pelvic floor, and as you exhale, send the energy back down into the earth. So you've created a circulatory flow here between your feet and the earth and what's happening in the pelvis. And then let's come into a little bit of movement. I'm going to add my arms. You're welcome to do the same thing. So I'm going to inhale, draw that up, and then exhale, return the energy to the ground. So inhaling into Devyasana or goddess squat, and then exhale, returning the energy to the earth. So we can think about this emphasis on the root, the pelvic floor area that we have, as a way to purify and discharge things from the internal system of our body that need to go back to the earth to be purified. And the Great Mother does that for us. She recycles the energy for us. Let's just do one more breath from here. And then turn the feet parallel. Shake and shimmy a little bit if you like. Loosen anything up that feels like it might be holding on to some tension. And take a deep breath in and out. Now you may want to take the legs a little wider apart as we move awareness up into the pelvis itself right now, into the sacral bowl. Now, you know, we've talked about this a lot in different contexts, but it's worth mentioning today. A lot of times we come into warrior two and triangle pose from mountain pose at the beginning of the mat, and we step back and then we rotate open. And what happens sometimes here is we really start to pull on this area of the body instead of fully using the hip joint. Hip joints are associated with the second chakra, and that's where our kind of interest is moving to right now. So I really want to honor what the hip joint is supposed to do. The hip joint is supposed to be able to take this leg and roll it out. So you might want to practice this a couple times, having your hands on your hip bones so they don't roll around, keeping them steady, just turning the right leg bone out and turning the right leg bone in. Turn it out and turn it in. And you might have to do that holding onto a chair and just kind of practice like this a couple times until you get that opening in your hips started again. So we did a little bit of opening for the hips right at the beginning, but you might need a little bit more. When you've got that movement in the leg, we're going to turn the leg out and leave it then, so that the toes are pointing pretty much directly towards the short edge of your mat. Now, sometimes we have some restrictions in the hip joint. Sometimes, you know, we've had a few miles on the chassis around here, so we have to just baby her a little bit. You might want to take your left leg, step it forward a little bit, and internally rotate. So maybe your pelvis will be turned a little bit. But if I touch my low back, it feels pretty square. It feels like there's no twisting or torquing in my low back. So it's okay to play around with the placement of your feet when you're doing yoga, and try to find something that really honors your body architecture, but at the same time, this is supposed to be a hip opener for this right hip joint. Now let's bend that knee, letting the knee come right over top of the ankle, and we're going to move a little bit in warrior two today. So inhale, taking the arms up, exhale, dropping back into a reverse warrior, and then inhaling up, and exhaling, dropping back. Moving in and out of that a couple more times at the pace of your own breath. Starting to kind of move your body out of a little constricted space and take up a little bit more space. Good. And then let's come into the warrior two position and hold that. And know that there's lots of different ways to adjust your arms. You can turn your palms up, bend the elbows a little bit. If you find the tops of your shoulders getting tense here in warrior two, turn to look down the right middle finger if you can. And then let me run this by you. I love all dimensions of myself. I delight in weaving the creative tapestry that is my life. And then let's weave a little creative tapestry. So let's take your arms, bring them around to the front of your mat, drop them either side of your right foot. You're going to pivot up onto the ball of your left foot and step your left foot up to your right foot for forward fold. Take a big exhale here. Inhale, come halfway up, really extend your spine, delight in weaving the tapestry of your life. Exhale, forward fold, and pull your belly muscles in quite a bit at the end of the exhale. See if that gives you any more space to forward fold. And then inhale, come up with a flat back, open your arms out to the side, take up a lot of space, reach to the sky, and bring your hands into your heart. Mountain pose. So now in mountain pose, our awareness shifts to the sacral bowl. to where we have so much creative and powerful energy. Could you please turn to the side of your mat again? And we'll work in Warrior Two like we did before. So turn to the side of your mat. Initially, the feet are parallel, and then work into the left hip joint, just as we discussed. So turn the left leg out and back a few times while your hands are on your pelvis, making sure that you're not twisting your pelvis to one side, that you're keeping your pelvis square to the long edge of the mat, and do some other hip movements if you need more time to move into this. And then when you've got a good amount of twist with that left leg, bring it so the toes are facing the short edge of the mat, and bend into your left knee, and we'll prepare for Warrior Two flow on this side. Good. So your knee is resting right over top of your ankle, and if you look down at your thigh bone, once again, it's pointing in the same direction as your toes. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, float the arms out. Exhale, come into reverse warrior. So that would be the right arm dropping down, left arm lifting. And then inhale back to Warrior Two, and back and forth a couple more times. Moving with your breath, taking up a little bit of space. And then maybe we can come back to Warrior Two and hold that position. Remembering you can drop your arms a little bit down from shoulder height, turn the palms up, bend the elbows a bit if your shoulders are feeling tense. Keep the leg alignment precise, even though we're holding this for a while. This is where you might start to sweat. And then run this through your mind again, if you will. I love all dimensions of myself. I delight in weaving the creative tapestry that is my life. And then when you're ready, we can release, bringing the hands around to the front foot. So now you're looking at the back of your mat, I know. Good. Lunge pose briefly, and then let's step the back foot up to the front foot. Forward fold. Take a big exhale as you forward fold. My flexible friends, please keep your knees bent. Inhale, come halfway up, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, forward fold. At the end of your exhale, hug the belly muscles in quite a bit. See if that allows you to forward fold more without even trying. And then inhale, come all the way up and claim mountain pose. Okay. So I'd like to go through one sun salutation. I know you're facing the back of your mat. That's okay. We'll figure this out together. I'd like to suggest you do one thing though, as you do your sun salutation. I'd like to be a little handsy if we can. So when you lift up, you can lift up your arms, but as you bring your hands down, can we just kind of touch the backs of the legs all the way down? And then if it's possible, bend your knees as much as you need, touch the ground. And then when you're lifting up, can you bring your hands up the front and then keep going all the way up to the sky? So just be a little bit more handsy as you do your sun salutation. Are we ready? You could start with hands at your heart if you like. And then inhale, lift your arms. And as you exhale, forward fold, finding the backs of your legs all the way down. Yeah. Inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, hands down the backs of your legs as you fold forward again. And let's step to table pose. So you can use a chair for this if you like. Inhaling to table pose. Exhale, take cat back. Inhale, let's take chest forward through the arms, really lift and stretch the front of your body. And exhale, let's push back to prayer pose, or if you're using a chair, do a modified down dog. Good. And then inhale, looking up towards your hands, stepping your feet up towards your hands, forward folding. Remember, if you can go down the backs of your legs as you're doing this. Inhale, come all the way up, bringing your hands up the fronts of your legs. And then hands back to the heart. So very simple, sun salutation. We're going to go through that 2 more times, and I'll let you kind of do it at the pace of your own breath. But can I ask you to think about one more thing while you're doing your sun salutation? And that is the center point of your body. When you're bending over in half and you're coming up halfway, and when you're doing your cat-cow, can you keep your mind around the middle part of your body and notice how it's getting bent one way and then bent another way, and how we're really starting to create heat and energy in the center part of the body. Okay, so hands on the legs whenever you can, heat in the center of the body. Let's go. Inhale, reaching to the sun. Exhale, forward fold, hands down the backs of your legs if you can. Feel the belly compress. Inhale, come halfway up, feel the belly stretch. Exhale, feel the belly compress. Step back to table pose as you inhale. Exhale, cat back, really pull the belly in. Inhale, lift your chest, stretch the belly. Exhale, push back to prayer pose or down dog if you're using the chair, really pull the belly in. Inhale, bring your feet up to the hands, forward fold. And as you forward fold, exhale deeply, really pull the belly in. Inhale, arms come up the front of the legs as you come all the way up, reach to the sky. Exhale, hands to the heart. And we'll just do that one more time. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, as you forward fold, you're tracing down the back of your body as well as squeezing the belly. Inhale, come halfway up, stretch the belly. Exhale, hands down the backs of your legs, squeeze your belly, step to table pose. Take an inhale as you're transitioning. Exhale, cat back, squeeze the belly. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, prayer pose or down dog. Squeeze the belly. Inhale, step your feet forward. And exhale, forward fold, really squeezing the belly. Inhale, arms come up the front of the legs and squeeze all the way up to the sun. Exhale, hands to the heart. And then I'm going to ask you to try something now that really helps to work on the 3rd chakra or the solar plexus chakra. But before we move into that, actually just do one thing and then I'll give you what to meditate on if you want. So take your hands up to your rib cage. Just let them be placed around the rib cage. Take a big inhale and notice after all of this movement we've been doing that as you inhale, the ribs expand and open up. And as you exhale, you might feel the ribs come back in, compress. It's almost like an umbrella opening in your rib cage. Now, know that it's possible to make that movement in your ribs, that umbrella opening movement, without actually inhaling. So let's kind of practice that. And I can't talk all the way through this, so I'll show you what I mean. Inhale, let the ribs expand. Exhale, let the ribs come in. Now, don't take any breath in, but make the ribs go out. And then relax and inhale. So I'll come a little closer so you can see this happening. I'll go like this. You get to see all my jelly bits. So inhale, exhale, and then expand the ribs without inhaling. Can you see how it's sucked in there? That's what we're trying to learn how to create. So you do that after you exhale, but you're not breathing in. You feel like you're trying to like suction cup everything up and you expand the ribs to create that suction. If you need to work on that more, you're at home, you can work on whatever you want. I'm just going to show you why I was talking about that. I'm going to take my feet out into a bit of a goddess squat again, like we were at the beginning. I'm going to let my hands rest lightly on my thighs, and I'm going to work that a little bit more. This is really cooking up a lot of energy in my belly. So before we get into this, I want to just throw something at you here. My will and divine will are one. I am connected to the abundant flow of the universe and easily manifest my dreams. So let's take that with us into this work in the belly. So from here, inhale. It's a little bit like a cow pose here. Exhale, it's a little bit like a cat pose. Now at the end of the exhale, expand the ribs on purpose. Feel the suction in the belly. Now inhale, relax, and come back up. Now that's a very powerful practice, and it might be more than you really need this afternoon. At least it's not a terribly hot day. What we're doing is we're trying to really stoke up the energy in the power center here. If you find that that's too much, you might want to work just from being upright and practice the way we did at first, or you might want to take a break and sit in your chair. All those options are really important, because to work with energy in Tantra and with chakras, you just got to think about it and stuff starts to cook. You don't have to do a lot of big, sexy movements to make a lot of exciting things happen. If you want to try that, we could do it 2 more times. So inhale, ribs expand. Exhale, ribs contract. No breath comes in, but expand the ribs and suck the guts up towards the lungs. Inhale, relax, and inhale and stand up. Make sure that that feels okay. And while you practice that 1 more time, if you choose to, let me repeat. My will and divine will are one. I am connected to the abundant flow of the universe and easily manifest my dreams. So please come back to standing in mountain pose when you're ready. And see if you can feel a little bit more activity, pulsation, awareness to the middle part of your body. So often, I'm speaking for myself, I get worried that things aren't going right or that things are not going to be good enough. And I forget I have an infinite connection to so much power. So when we start to contract, when we start to, force too much, when we start to get into our heads too much, we cut ourselves off from these energy centers we've been working with so far in class today. And you're connected to the abundant energy of the earth. And you're connected to your ability to love and connect and accept and work with all kinds of different people in all kinds of situations. And you don't have to force your dreams. Your dreams come when we're open to them. Okay. So I'd like to work in camel pose now. For those of you who are comfortable enough to be on your knees, let me demonstrate what you might do. If you would prefer to be on a chair, I can also offer an alternative for that. First thing I'm going to do is get my blanket set up to cushion my knees, and I also prefer to work with a yoga block in my camel pose. If you don't have the block, that full box of Kleenex might come in handy, or a full roll of toilet paper. So this would be if I was going to be on my knees. If I'm choosing to be on my chair, I can also use a yoga block, or if I have a folded blanket. I'm going to put it here between the back of the chair and my shoulder blades, and I'm going to plant my feet just like I'm going to plant my knees if I'm on the ground, and work in the exact same sort of direction energetically with a seated version of camel pose. So that's the alternative there. If you're doing a more traditional version, we're going to come down onto our knees. I prefer to use a block in between my thighs. We're going to take the hands. If you're in the chair, you can hold onto the back of the chair. If we don't have a chair, we're going to hold on to the backs of ourselves. I'm pressing the heel of my palm into the bottom of my sacrum in order to keep lots of spaciousness here. We're turning attention now to the spiritual heart, the chakra in the middle of the chest. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to elongate and open that space. So pushing down firmly through the feet, shins, knees, whatever's in contact with the ground, and then levitating the breastbone up and away from that. So holding that for 2 more breaths if you can. It's a very powerful pose. And then please release, just sitting in your chair, or I'm sitting back on my heels. Just take a comfortable neutral seat. If you need to stretch your legs out in front of you, that's fine. And please consider this. My heart is open to receive the energy of love. I radiate this essence. I walk my path with ease, and grace. And then let's come back up to a standing position. Turn to the side of your mat again and take your feet quite wide. Once again, we can rotate the right thigh bone as we practiced before and prepare for triangle pose. So remember, we had all those different adjustments that we can make with our legs, and all of those are appropriate here. A little flex in the right knee is also appropriate. And this is a little bit of a moving version of triangle pose. And now we're thinking about the side of the heart center. So the word chakra is often translated to mean wheel. So we're dealing with a three-dimensional moving sort of spherical space. So if you think about the heart as only being here, you're missing out on so many of other dimensions of the space. So when you're ready to come into the posture, let's inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, come into an easy triangle. Don't reach for the floor or anything. Inhale, take the top arm and reach it out, bow the ribs. And then exhale, come back to traditional triangle. Moving in and out of the posture a few more times. And not forgetting about our root to the earth. Not forgetting about the power in the center of the body. And all of that is brought to the party as we start to draw the energy up towards the center of the chest. One more breath. And then as you exhale, coming all the way up and adjusting the feet so we're ready for triangle on the other side. So coming into the posture at your leisure, adjusting the left leg, moving into the breath and the movements when you're ready. And as you're moving in and out of extended triangle pose now, run these words through your mind, if you will. My heart is open to receive the energy of love. You might think specifically about the left side of your heart now. I radiate this essence. So as you practice your posture, do you radiate love? Or do you radiate determination? Do you radiate, aggression? So radiate the essence of love. As you practice this posture, you are showing the universe how you walk your path with ease and grace. And then when you're ready, please exhale up out of the posture. And find mountain pose. Notice how this mountain pose may feel different than the one you did right at the beginning of class. And then now could we please come down onto our bellies for a different version of cobra pose. And if you're quite uncomfortable weight bearing on your belly today, if you could come to a wall and just follow the instructions, I think it'll work just about the same. So we're looking here to move awareness into the center of the throat now. We're beginning to internalize and specialize the flow of energy a little bit more as it comes up from the earth and connects us to our more sophisticated potential. So cobra pose is often a pose, if you just think about it for a second, that we feel we have to really look way up. And I really don't want to go there today. I want to do cobra pose in a way that keeps the neck very soft. So bring the hands a bit further down the mat than what your first instinct was, almost to the bottom of the ribs. It's going to feel weird at first. And the elbows way up, pointing up towards the ceiling behind you. And then draw the shoulder blades into the spine and widen the collarbones. Good. This is a moving version of cobra pose. As you inhale, press your hands into the floor, lift your chest forward to the top edge of the mat. Good. And then as you exhale, slowly float back down little by little, turning your head to one side. And then we're going to work like that a few more breaths. Come up and inhale Float back down on an exhale and turn your head to the opposite side. So when you come up, your hands are way back down the mat. Imagine you're dragging yourself forward on the mat. And use your hands way back there to kind of really give you that dragging sensation. So it's really about making space in the front of the throat. And then you gently compress and twist that space as you lower your head slowly to the ground. So it's not about coming up really high in your cobra pose. It's really about space in the throat today. Let's come up and look to each side one more time. And then you can just rest on your belly, or if you're using a chair today, you could always be sitting in a chair. Bring your hands to cushion yourself as a pillow might, if that's helpful. And may I suggest this to you? I am aligned with my highest truth and communicate this with love and honor. My words echo softly within the universe. My words echo softly within the universe. And then when you're ready, please push up from the floor, or if you're at a wall, come to sit on a chair. If you're on the floor and you can sit really comfortably with your back aligned safely, then you can stay on the floor to do the twist. I usually take my blanket and fold it a few times so that when I'm preparing to do this seated twist, my hip joints are higher than my knee joints. Let me just adjust the computer so you can see that a little bit better. So I have my hip joints higher than my knee joints. And even when I bend my knees, if I have that underneath my hips, I can still achieve that. Now, if this is not happening for you for any reason at all, then the chair is a much better alternative. And we're really not focused on the lower body now, so it doesn't matter how you arrange your lower legs. We just want to find an easy seat. And an aligned spine. Okay. We're drawing awareness now to our higher center of intelligence and intuition. So if you feel across your eyebrows, there's a little bit of a brow ridge there. And then if you move just one or two fingers, depending on your size, bone structure, you're just above the brow ridge and then moving into the center of the mind. That's the place we're talking about. So we call it the eyebrow center or the third eye, but we're really talking about things that are happening more internal. So when you're ready, we're going to come into our easy seated twist. Let's do it dynamically a few times, and then we might hold the twist. It's not your deepest twist. This is more about internal energy rather than external shape. So inhale, allow lots of space through all the energy centers through which we visited. Exhale, come into the twist. Inhale back to center, and exhale the other way. No need to rush. No need to pull or bully your body into going into any kind of sexy shape. Remember, as soon as we start to force, as soon as we start to put a lot of agenda into our practice, then we're going to hold back the flow of that beautiful energy. And we wanted to stay really tapped into it. We wanted to stay really connected to the earth energy flowing in our bodies. Okay, I'm going to go back to my first side and hold. So notice what you're looking at. Wherever you're looking is fine. Don't crane your head any further. I'm looking at the back of my chair. So that's going to be my focal point. I'm going to keep my eyes on the looking at the chair while slowly turning my chin as far as I can without losing my focal point. And then maybe I'll inhale, bring my chin back in alignment with where my eyes are looking. And then exhale, move the chin while the eyes stay focused. Now this is really tough work. If you find that this is really disconcerting or it's not suiting you today, just close your eyes or keep your head still. There's no need to push yourself to do this. And after you've done that about 3 times, stay in the twist, look in that direction, squeeze your eyes shut, take a deep breath in and out, And then let your eyes float open gently and release the twist as you inhale the next time. Exhale, relax on purpose. So when we deal with the energy of the third eye region, we're also dealing with a lot that you realize your actual outward facing eyes have to deal with. Switch the cross of the legs if that's what you're doing. And we'll do the twist and hold it to the other side. So inhale, get nice and tall. Exhale, come into the twist and make note of what you see with your eyes. And then maybe as you exhale, the next time you hold your gaze there while turning your chin center and moving the head back as you inhale. Remember, this is powerful work. So if it's not suitable for you, you are the worldwide expert in you, so you get to call the shots. What we're doing here is we're just kind of really using the eyes in a very unusual way in relationship to what the brain is seeing. After you've done that about 3 times, squeeze the eyes shut, take a deep breath in and out. And inhale and relax. Take a deep breath in and out. And while you're just sitting here, you might want to close your eyes briefly for a second. And if you're not comfortable sitting where you are, is there something you could do to be more comfortable? Say to yourself, my mind is open to new vision. I expand my awareness throughout my higher self. Through my higher self. So just using this awareness of the space within your mind to understand that so many more things are possible. Ideas and solutions that never occurred to you before are all waiting for you to open to them. Wonderful. Then I'm going to ask you to come back to a standing position one more time, please. And we're going to use forward fold. There's a lot of different adjustments that you might want to make to be comfortable here. And I was thinking about staying here for a little while. And I wanted to see if it was possible for us to have some connection between the crown of the head and the earth. So there may be my odd flexible friend who can get the crown of the head right to the floor. Wonderful. That's not me. So maybe what you might have to do is get your chair and bring it so that you can let the crown of your head rest lightly on your chair. I think my hands would help a lot with that. Other people may be able to just pile up some cushions or some blocks so that the crown of the head can rest on something. So this is a wide-legged forward fold. You might want to be a bit pigeon-toed, slightly soft kneed as you come into this, come forward, and we're looking to have the crown of the head resting on something. So for me, maybe this would work today. I don't want to be right at the end of my range of motion. I want softness. I want to be able to be really relaxed here. So I guess my block up on end would work for me today, but every day's different, so you got to try these things out. And try to bring the contact of the crown of the head, not your forehead, but the crown of your head. So if you need to build up more things, if you need to use a chair to be logical here, then let's do that. And what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to connect to this place in the body, the crown of your head, as a connection to the divine source of universal energy. And while you're holding this posture, and it might take you a little while to get sorted out, and if you really can't figure out how to get your crown of the head to touch anything, that's fine. And of course, I wouldn't want your crown of the head to be weight-bearing. I don't want your neck to have any strain on it at all. But just that visceral or that kind of physical connection between the earth energy and the crown of your head. I am connected to the divine source of the universe. I am light. You are light. You are a being of light. And you trust. You trust the earth. You trust all the other centers that communicate and feed into this portal. And you are a being of light. Can you hold here for just a couple more breaths? If you need to release, I'll understand, no problem. But Sometimes interesting things happen in the second half of the minute or two that we hold it. And then when you feel you've explored this long enough, you're welcome to stay a bit longer. But when you're ready, and if you're not feeling particularly peaceful, chances are you're ready. Let's make our way down to Shavasana, please. And choose a version of Shavasana that allows you to feel very connected to the earth. So if there's a lot of places in your body that feel tight, maybe they need to be propped so that you feel the earth supporting you, but you're not feeling strain. And while you're getting settled into Shavasana, remember we talked a little bit before about you don't really have to do too much special stuff or, really secret stuff in order to understand chakras or to feel the pulsation or the results of them. Just your mental attention to these areas is enough to get things started. So in our stillness in Shavasana, I'd like to go through the various affirmations again, if that's okay. And as best as you can, repeat these words to yourself silently. And just see if you can touch base, if you have any physical sensations in these areas, or if these particular sentiments bring up emotions or thoughts. And see if you can just let it all flow, because this kind of work is all about fluidity. Okay, so we're going to go back to the feet and the inseams of the legs and into the pelvic floor where we started. And if you want to, you can repeat silently to yourself, I am connected with the energy of Mother Earth. My body, mind, and spirit are grounded and centered and purified. I am connected with the energy of Mother Earth. My body, mind, and spirit are grounded and centered and purified. And then moving awareness into the hips, the sacrum, the pelvic bowl. Welcoming as best as you can any sensation you discover here. And as you repeat these words silently to yourself, even allowing things like emotion and thought to be felt and to move. I love all dimensions of myself. I delight in weaving the creative tapestry that is my life. I love all dimensions of myself. I delight in weaving the creative tapestry that is my life. And then please move your awareness up the body a little bit more to the center of your torso. And allow these words to be repeated silently in your own mind. My will and divine will are one. I am connected to the abundant flow of the universe and easily manifest my dreams. My will and divine will are one. I am connected to the abundant flow of the universe and easily manifest my dreams. And then letting your awareness move up your body to the center of your chest. And let's repeat some of the words from our practice. My heart is open to receive the energy of love. I radiate this essence. I walk my path with ease and grace. My heart is open to receive the energy of love. I radiate this essence. I walk my path with ease and grace. And then please shift your awareness up to the center of your throat. And while you hold space, awareness here, say to yourself, I am aligned with my highest truth. And communicate this with love and honor. My words echo softly within the universe. I am aligned with my highest truth and communicate this with love and honor. My words echo softly within the universe. And then please draw your awareness to the center of your mind. And tell yourself, my mind is open to new vision. I expand my awareness through my higher self. My mind is open to new vision. I expand my awareness through my higher self. And now we take our concentration to the very tip of your body, the crown of your head. I am connected to the divine source of the universe. I am light. Take a moment to imagine each cell of your body dancing with light, radiating light, being light. And when you've had a chance, hopefully, to experience lightness of being, feel the solidity of the earth beneath you and trust the earth. Feel the earth cradling you. And this is our essence, isn't it? We dance with light. We are light. And yet we are grounded. We are of the earth. We are solid. And when we play in our yoga practice with energy, these are the truths we weave within ourselves. You are welcome to stay in Shavasana a little longer. Today was a potentially powerful class for some of us, so if you need more rest, please take that space for yourself. And if you're ready to move on to whatever comes next on this beautiful afternoon, be gentle and patient as you adjust to a seated position. And I would love it if you would finish class by sharing with me the timeless chant of Om. I'm starting with my hands together at the heart. Inhaling now. Namaste, friends.
Thank you. That was
Thank you.